Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Byron. I am your host, Byron. I think this is episode number 106. Alongside me is former NFL star Ryan Davis.
Hey, hey, hey.
First, before we get into it, I got to give a shout out to my sponsors at Podcast One and betonline.net. If you got betting, if you want to bet on the upcoming NFL games for Thursday, we got NHL going on. UFC's around the corner. We got World Cup going on right now. So use the promotion code bet online. No, podcast one and put your bets in. You might win. Who knows? Good luck out there. I'm not the better. I know I would not win, so I don't put my money on it. I don't know about Mr. Davis over here if he bets, but I know I don't put my money on it because I won't win.
Right, that's how I am.
But anywho, go to Bet Online for all your betting odds and needs, and good luck out there, people. But let's begin. How are you tonight? Welcome to the show, Mr. Davis. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Same. I can't complain myself either. I see you got a little one right there. As we
Yeah, man.
talked earlier, I've
Yeah.
got two. I've got two of my own as well. You said
Awesome.
you've got three,
Yeah, yep.
and as we talked about earlier, yes, they may be frustrating for us
Yeah,
parents, but
yeah.
we still love them. That's the joy of parenting.
That's the joy, man. That's the joy. You love
It's
it.
the joy of parenting.
Yeah, it is.
So let's hop right to it.
It's fun.
You were born in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Like you told me before we went on the air, you now live in Jacksonville. What
Right.
made you decide to want to move to Jacksonville compared to living down here in Tampa? Did you just want a different kind of scenery, or did you like
Uh,
Jacksonville better?
yeah. I mean, I'm from Tampa, so when I got to Jacksonville back in 2012, playing for the Jags,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of just became home. I mean, all my kids were born here. I've grown to love the city, the community here. So, as a man now, I kind of, want to go my own way. And Jacksonville just always been the come back, the place I came back to in the off seasons to work out and do all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really, yeah, I mean, it was a no brainer for me to kind of just, settle down right here and kind of build my own life and then, the way I wanted to here. I know I can still go home. The opportunity presents itself, the right opportunity presents itself, I'll probably come home. Other than that, I'm trying to work on really just, second career here in Jacksonville and see where it takes me, whether it is here or, in another city. But so far, we love it here in Jacksonville.
So let's start off with your early years. You went to since you were born here and raised in Tampa. You
Mhm.
went. I go by this school every time I go down 275 to go to Amalie Arena for concerts and
Yeah,
sporting events.
yeah,
You went to Howard Blake High School
yep,
and were two-way player, tight end, and defensive end.
yep.
Tell us about that and why did you ultimately decide to go to defensive end?
So it was more so in high school. I was more so it's a position called athlete. So they line, athlete. You do it. You do it all. I played tight end, DN,
Mm-hmm,
linebacker. I lined up at safety a couple plays. I played quarterback a few plays. So I
mm-hmm,
basically was like the do it all guy on the
mm-hmm,
team. So, but really, I was recruited to college after that to play wide receiver. Actually, I
mm-hmm.
was 200 pounds coming out, 6'3", 200 pounds. So I wasn't as big as I was when I got to the NFL and all that.
Right.
But I was recruited there to play receiver, and then ultimately, coach moved me around, and he knew I played defensive end, so he moved me to outside linebacker, and I was able to just lift and continue to put on weight, good
Mhm.
weight, get stronger, and and NFL became a possibility for me later on. But yeah, I was just a natural athlete, and it kind of just I always felt like whatever position I stuck with, I'd be good at. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, For me, defensive end. That was. I'm glad I chose to stay right there in that path.
Did you find it difficult to play all those positions, or
Nah, not really, because I always felt like I was athletic enough to do it all. And I played a lot growing up. I think that helped in being able to do so much. Because when I was younger, I was in so much stuff. I played football, basketball, soccer, baseball. I mean, I did a lot of sports, and then we played different positions out there. So you really
Mhm.
just go out there and you just playing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it felt like when I got to the high school level. Like wherever coach told me to go, I'm gonna play it, and I knew I could play it well. You know what I'm saying? So, but once it got down to the nitty gritty, and I needed to hone in on some skills that will help me further my career, then that's what I did. And ultimately, defensive end was the best fit.
Now tell us about this. How memorable is this for you that you received these honors there at at the Hillsborough County All-Star Honors as a senior? You received all conference. Tell us about those rewards. How
Uh,
memorable are those to you?
Very memorable. Because technically, I only played one full year of high school football.
Hmm.
My junior year, I played the last 4 or 5 games because coach used to always see me in the hallway because I wanted to play. I wanted to hoop.
Hmm.
Basketball was my thing, but I wasn't getting recruited like how I wanted to. So coach
Right.
would always see me in the hallway. Hey man, I need to get you out there, man. I used to always just play it to the side, but I took him up on that offer one day and went out there, and and he saw something in me, and it wasn't like I wasn't new to football. I played a little league and all that, but I just
Hmm.
wanted to focus on basketball at the time. But there was other plans, and I'm glad I kind of went out on a limb and played football. So to see all the honors and all that kind of stuff come later on, that was wonderful to see and wonderful to receive, because I knew I was blessed with some talent, blessed with some skills. I had the right mindset to play at the next level.
Hmm.
I was a good teammate, good friend. So all of that coming and being blessed with all those awards and all conference honors, that was just the icing on the cake.
Now you were obviously, like you said, you played every sport, pretty much every sport. You
Yeah,
competed at basketball in the high school level as
yeah,
a senior, as this is saying, and we're a second team all county Western Conference Player of the Year and also Hillsborough County Slam Dunk champion.
yeah.
Now, do you think if you would have chose football, do you think you would have ultimately chose basketball as a career?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that was my mindset in high school. Basketball was my sport. That's what I wanted to do. And a lot of people will tell you that when we played pickup games at Cookman, that I
Hmm.
was I was for real with it. And I know a lot of football guys be like, oh man, I was good in basketball, but it's a lot of people that can kind of vouch for me. But I was basketball was my sport. That's what I wanted to go do. Um, you know, I was recruited to Cookman under the impression that I would be playing basketball there as well. So
Hmm.
that's kind of what led me to Bethune Cookman, along with playing football. Because I was going to be a two-sport athlete, so that was right up my alley. I was like, all right, let's do it. But that it ended up not being the case, and for me, I was getting ready to transfer and leave, but I stuck it out, and the part I'm most upset about is the what ifs, like what could have been. I could have stayed home, went the JUCO route, and went to a D1 program after that, or go to
Right.
University of Tampa. They were very interested, and they were down the street, and
Right.
I used to visit with them all the time. So that's for me. I didn't, I wasn't ready for my last time playing organized basketball, to be in the 12th grade. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to go to the next level and see where I could go with it because I felt like I had a lot of untapped potential. But if you ask a lot of people from my class in 2007 at Blake High School, and some people at Cookman, they'll tell you the same thing. Basketball is my sport.
It says you were a small forward, and you said you were 200 pounds.
Right.
Doesn't that seem kind of big to be a small? Well, no, too small actually,
That's too
because
small. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because isn't LeBron James? Isn't that what he is?
Yeah, exactly. So on the college and pro level, I probably would have been a small two guard because I wasn't a point guard, but I was a scorer. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
If I would have
right.
been 6'3", I would have been more of who was my favorite player? Dwayne Wade was my favorite player.
There you go.
I probably would have been more of because I could jump. I mean, obviously, I won the dunk contest and everything. I could jump,
Right, right, right.
get to the lane. I could score. I can hit the mid range. But for the most part, I probably would have been a guard trying to mold in that. I would have been trying to mold, follow my game after D Wade or D Rose or some, guys like that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been a small forward for sure. But in high school, you got to play what you got to play, especially
Right,
when the tallest guy on your team is what 6'6".
right.
So yeah, so I had to do what I got to do. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's a lot of untapped potential there. I would have liked to continue that route, but God had other plans. There was other plans in store. So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Hey, you had a good career otherwise, so
yeah, for sure.
but who knows what NBA would have or how but hey, you still had
Who
a good
knows?
career in the NFL. You
Yeah,
got to
exactly.
where you wanted to be. That's the main thing.
Exactly. Yep.
So, as you left high school, as you were saying, you accepted a scholarship, as you said, from Bethune Cookman.
Yep.
A freshman, you appeared 7 games as a backup,
Hmm.
tallying 9 tackles, 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. Tell us about that year as a freshman, and being a backup. Were you at least trying to compete for starting, or did you know right away you were going to be a backup starting as a
So,
freshman?
so it's interesting. So 2007, when I got on campus, I redshirted my 2007 year, like my true freshman year. I redshirted, so I didn't suit up.
Mhm.
So 2008, which is what you're reading right now, or well, what you have now. Yeah, that year, that's the year I was going to transfer and get out of there because,
Mhm.
like I said, I was an athlete. So I wasn't playing receiver no more.
Right,
At that point, they wanted to, kind of move me around, and they wanted to move me to O line.
right.
So here am I with the mindset because at that time that team we ran like the wing T, the triple option, which our biggest O lineman was 260 pounds, but they could all run and get out on the edge and cut people. That was their goal. So for me, going from high school basketball recruit to playing receiver to not playing basketball to now you moving me to O line, I was getting ready
Mhm,
to get up out of there. I was getting ready to transfer, and I wasn't. I felt like why am I here? I'm wasting myself doing this. I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this.
mhm.
So at the end of the day, I think Coach seen that, he sensed it, and he moved me to outside linebacker, which I was like, okay, I can I can do this. I can stick it out. You know what I'm saying? And then I was fortunate enough to make a few plays towards the end of the year, and by the next year, I think I was starting, I believe.
Yep.
Oh
It
yeah,
says right. Yep. Sophomore, you started at defensive end
yep.
and you
I
posted
took that over.
55 tackles. You were fourth on the team. You
Yep,
had 3.5 sacks, led
yep,
the team, 9 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles.
yep. So yeah,
That's a good year.
ooh, yeah, that's a
That's a
solid
good
year.
year.
Yeah.
Tell
So
tell us about that year.
that year, what was that? 2009, right?
2009. Yep.
That year we didn't do so well as a team, and I think that might have been Alvin Wyatt's last year coaching us. Yeah, because we lost. Yeah, I think we were like 5 or 6 that year, but that was a good year, well, solid year for me to learn how to be a starter, learn how to prepare myself for teams at that level, and really just a learning process for me. I felt in 2009, I'm kind of filling out the position, but getting stronger, bigger, faster. So um, yeah, I mean that's really what that year was for me personally, and I think my better years were my last 2 year, with my last year being the most dominant.
Now let's see if you remember this. If I'm
Okay.
seeing this correctly, do you remember this game-saving tackle that you had at the goal line on
Savannah
4th
State, Savannah State. How could I forget?
Yep.
How
Take us
could I
through that
forget?
take us through that play and that experience. What were you thinking when that happened?
So that whole day we were at Savannah State. I think there were something with Shannon Sharp, and I seen Shannon Sharp in person. I was like, He's not that tall, but he's big though. Like, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
he's on there.
he's
Yeah,
small. He had on his suit. You
went
can see his
there.
chest poking out from his suit. But I'm like, that was kind of like my first glance at like greatness, and I'm like, okay, he's right there. I can see him walking the track and greeting people and whatnot, and that. So that's kind of what's going through my head first time there. But on that exact play, um, yeah, we're on the goal line. I remember this. I was in the 3-point stance on the right side of the line, and they ran a play. I don't know what kind of play they ran, but the tackle or tight end, whoever he was, tried to big down block me. I made contact with him, stayed low, got my hands on him, shoved him out the way, and the running back came. I mean, the hole was wide open. The running back came down there, and I just really had to be stout. You know what I'm saying? I had to be stout, play with low pad leverage, and he came in there, and I just stalemated him and ran my feet and drove him back, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was I think that was a start of me kind of realizing that I can make some plays, and I think the coaching staff kind of noticed that too. Um, yeah, I think the coaching staff kind of noticed that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to see. Now you mentioned that, I always wanted to see Shannon Sharp in person. I truly
Yeah.
believe he's big. He's more big than what you think that he is
Right.
on TV.
Right.
Like, he's huge. He works
Yeah.
out. So,
Yeah. I didn't know he was that in shape. You know what I'm saying? And to be his age and to look that good, that's awesome, man. But
'cause I watch him on Skip and Shannon,
yeah,
and
he's my favorite guy on TV right now, Shannon Sharp.
TV don't do justice how big he actually is.
Yep, exactly. Yep, he's
So,
huge,
and
man.
plus, you were there at Savannah State, which he talks about all the time. He went
Exactly.
there, he played there. He said if he could, he would give money to that school.
Right.
He could.
Right.
He talks glowingly about that school.
Yeah.
So for
Hmm.
you to see him there, I mean, did you even get a chance to talk to him?
Nah, I didn't because we're on the sideline. So, and he's they basically I don't know if they were retiring his jersey. I don't know what happened, but they were honoring him in some way. So I didn't we didn't get a chance to talk or anything like that.
Mm.
But just seeing him walk the track and all right, I recognize this guy. He's from a small school, even smaller than Bethune Cookman. So
Exactly. Yeah.
you kind of see it and you kind of get a sense of I probably can do make it to where he's been before from my school. So but yeah, that was just an awesome experience, and I remember that for sure.
Now let's see if you remember this game. Also happened your sophomore year. You made 9 tackles in a 9-7 win. Who was that against?
Was that Delaware State?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Tell
remember.
us about that game.
I remember that game because I was very disciplined in my run game responsibilities, and yeah, I mean, like I said, like that year was big for me, understanding how to play outside linebacker / defensive end and learning what I'm supposed to do in my reads and all that kind of stuff. But that game, yeah, I was just on point. Making tackles and being sure. And I remember that game for another reason. Because I think we won that game. I had a real good game. And I think our D coordinator at the time was upset at us for something. And then he got on me, was like, Ryan, you had one good game. You had one good game. So I remember that because he was kind of chewing me out, but he kept saying you had one good game. And I don't even know what he was chewing us out about, but I remember that game for that reason. And it's always funny to talk about amongst my former teammates.
Now tell us about this year. Looks like your following year, your junior year, you
Yep.
started 10 out of 12 games and you had an even better year. You
Yeah.
compiled 57 tackles.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what 2 games I didn't start that year. That's the wild part to me. I don't know.
Still,
I gotta look at
that's
the stat guy whoever wrote. I gotta look at that.
that's one hell of a year, though. That's like your best college year that I'm reading.
What 2010?
Yeah, what do you remember that year? You had 57 tackles that year,
Oh no.
more than what you had
Yeah, I
in
had
any of your
wait
seasons.
till you get up. Wait till you read 2011. That was even better. But
Okay, never
2010,
yes,
yeah,
I see now this
2010,
year.
that year though, that's when
Senior year. Yep.
we had a coaching change, and Brian Jenkins came through, and he changed the scheme up. So I was able to play a little more fast, a little more free, under Charles Yogi Jones and Brian Jenkins. So, um, yeah, that year right there was fun, man. I ain't gonna lie. Our offense putting up big numbers, so we was able to go out there and hunt a lot of those games. And but that year, yeah, I kind of put myself on the map as far as, all right, I might have a chance at this NFL stuff if I keep this up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, really, yeah, that year was a stepping stone. I mean, if you look at the stats each year, they got better. And
Yeah.
tackles, sacks,
I had to scroll
everything.
down a little bit.
Yep.
And now that you said that, I finally saw it. Yeah, as soon
Yep.
as you said that, I scrolled down
Mhm.
and there it was.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
senior year was the better year.
And the thing is, I think we left some. I got to look at the tape, but I think we left some numbers on the field because I one game I really remember me having 3 sacks against Howard. So that's 3 sacks that's not counted for in on my sack total in my career. But it's neither here nor there though.
So in 2012, after your senior year, tell us how this process went. Obviously, you says you went undrafted by
Hmm.
the Jaguars that year. Did you ever get scouted to be drafted? Who or what? Take us through that process and why ultimately what were teams saying and why you weren't drafted?
Oh yeah, did I? So the end of my 2011 campaign at Cookman, I was defensive player of the year. Got all kind of national attention and the start of that, I see scouts coming in and out, and agents, wanting to sign me as soon as my season was over. So I kind of started feeling it then towards the end of the season. But
Mhm.
2012, yeah, I mean, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, to get random calls from random numbers. You answer it, and it's the Broncos or the Jaguars or the car. You know what I'm saying? Just the thought of them hearing about me and wanting to inquire about me and ask questions and review film and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was super cool, man. And but ultimately, he came down to Jacksonville because Jacksonville, not only were they just an hour away from Daytona Beach where I went to school, but
Right.
I talked with them almost every day. They did a good job of really courting me, I guess if you want to say. They ran my pro day. The defensive line coach that was there at the time, Joe Cullen and Paul Spicer,
Mhm.
they conducted my pro day, and I used to talk to them every other day. So we had a relationship going into my pro day, and we had a relationship afterwards. So for me, I thought that would be the team to draft me. Even during the draft, I got a call saying we don't take this person here, we're going to take you. And I'm guessing they do that a lot. So it just didn't end up happening. And then
Mhm.
around the sixth, seventh round, that's when I started getting calls from everybody. The Jags call and make sure hey, we want you. We want you on the priority free agent stuff. So that's around the sixth, seventh round. That's what a lot of teams call you for. I'm thinking it's going to be the call to get drafted.
Right.
I want to see my name across the little ticker, at the bottom of the screen, like, hey, this guy's drafted, but it didn't work out that way. So you kind of get to choose where you want to go if you're not drafted. So it became like a mad dash with the phones. I'm talking to one team, handing it off to my mom. They're calling my mom, and
Mhm.
about I'm on the phone with one team, another team's calling. So it became, it came down to the Jaguars and the Cardinals. Ultimately, the Panthers were in the running too,
Mhm.
but they weren't offering me enough for my signing bonus. So we kind of had to negotiate our stuff on the go right then and there. But it came down to Arizona and Jacksonville, and they both were offering the same signing bonus, which was about 20 grand. And as a broke college student, I just wanted to get a car.
Mhm.
So that's
Right.
all. That's all I was concerned about was getting a car.
Right.
So ultimately, Jacksonville won out because of the familiar. I'm trying to butcher that word because I was familiar with them, and we had a relationship, and and it was close to home. You know, my family could just go 3 hours up the road and see me play. I'm an hour away from my college. Oh yeah, you know, and I felt like I can compete for a job there. So it felt like the best situation, and it was the best situation for me. So in the end, that's what really won it out for me in Jacksonville. It was just, you know, I thought about all angles, and everything worked out for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't get to take the field except for practice squad because you were
Yeah.
released and
Yep.
practice squad that year. But you finally get your chance in the 2013 season against the Houston Texans. And
Hmm.
God, I remember this quarterback. God, where he's at now? Who knows? Matt Schaub. Tell us
Uh,
about that moment that you had against Matt Schaub.
yeah. So in 2012, I spent the majority of that year on the practice squad with the regards for 3 weeks. They brought me up for 3 weeks to put me back on practice squad. So in 13, yeah, I'm back. I'm on the practice squad again, but they moved me up. Yeah, they moved me up towards like the middle or the end of the season. Yeah, and we're in Houston. You know, close game, tight game. I'm having a solid game. You know, I got a couple pressures, hits on the quarterback.
Mm.
But at the end, yeah, he throws a ball to a receiver and he's juggling it out there. And I just, you know, just doing what I'm coached to do, turn and run to the ball. I turn and run to the ball. He's still bobbling in it, bobbling the ball, and it bobbles in the air. And I just see it. And the athlete in me just stuck my hand out, and it felt like I was back, you know, on the playground again when I snagged the ball and just cradled it in. It's natural. I got natural hands, man. That's why
There
people
you
know it's natural hands. So natural soft hands, and when he did that, oh yeah, I had to grab that because I wasn't going back on practice squad after that. So I had to make sure that you know, I secured that ball in. And
Hey, with what you got in, though, I mean,
yeah,
hell, that's one hell of an ending to a game, though. Come on.
yeah, great ending. And I think it might have been. I don't want to say it might have been Gus Bradley's first. Was that Gus Bradley's first win as a Jaguars head coach?
I
It might
think
have been.
so. Yeah,
It
I
might
believe.
have been, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken. And
because
it
he had
made,
just taken over. Yeah, that
yeah,
year.
and it might have been what happened? The Jaguars. Hold on, well, yeah, it might have been. It might have been his first win, and yeah, and it made like Sports Center top 10. So I thought that was cool too. Matter
So
of fact, and that was my second game up because the first game, that
yes, it
first
was.
game that year, I think I was playing against the Cardinals.
Did you
And
play?
yeah, I played. Yeah, I played. I got some good rushes in. I hit the quarterback, forced the incompletion, and that's when I kind of got, you know, my feet wet. It was like, okay, I can rush. I can do
There you
this.
go.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember who the quarterback was for the Cardinals that you wanted to get a hold
I
of?
want to say Palmer. I want to say Palmer for some reason.
That probably right. I mean, yeah, the end of his
No.
career. Yeah.
Yeah, is it Carson Palmer? Yeah, I want to say him. I'm not sure, but yeah,
I
it might.
want to say him too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I want because that's where he ended his career was right there.
right there. So it might have been him. Then.
So then the following season, 2014, you get your feet wet more. You play the entire season
Right.
with the defensive line rotation.
Hmm.
Now, tell us about that year. You posted 17 tackles, had 6.5 sacks, two
Yep.
passes defended, and two forced fumbles and two recoveries. Tell us about that year and how much did you learn from that year?
Oh, that year is when I became. That's the year I became a pro. I kind of put everybody, not everybody on notice, but that's the year, you know, I felt like I belonged for sure. And you know, so that year, you know, they found a rotation for me, found a job for me, rushing at the three technique, and rush as well as rushing on the outside.
Mhm.
But you know where I made my money is where we made my bones is rushing at the three, being much quicker than those guards on the inside, and using my hands and just being the ultimate teammate, and you know just doing my job at a high level. So and I was able to, you know, not being a starter, I hadn't started a game, and to be able to have 6.5 sacks, getting less than maybe 20 plays a game, you know, on defense. That was, you know, that was great. That's efficient. So for me, I had to be good right now. I didn't have time to warm up. I didn't have time to go in there and get a couple plays to get my feet wet. No, I had to come in ready to go. And for me, that's just the mindset I had from being in the NF, being on the practice squad and having to make the team, just having that mentality that I got to be good right now. So, when it came my opportunity, I know I had to shine and make the most of it. So, in 14, that's what I did. I was able to be around the ball, make some plays, get some sacks, and able to really further my career from that year alone.
Do you remember any big plays and big moments you had from that year?
Ah man, let me see. Big plays, big moments from that year. Let's see. I had a sack on Thursday night, which is pretty dope. I don't know. I had a few moments that I liked for real. I had a couple sacks in Indy. I had a sack in Indy on Andrew Luck where I knocked the ball out of his hand and popped right in the air. It was funny. He got it right back. What else? I don't know, man. It's just the Philadelphia Eagles game where we jumped out on them like 17-0 the first game of the year. I really could have had 3 sacks that game. I left it on the table. I'm looking at that tape, and I really could have had, probably 9, 10 sacks that year, just if I'd have wrapped up and made some tackles. But from that year alone, man, I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of games. I don't know. I don't know what comes to mind yet.
Now tell us about you were in 2 less games the following year, 2015.
Yep.
Tell us about that year.
That year I saw my role, what I want to do, what I did the year before. I saw that role kind of reduce a little bit. We added some pieces that kind of moved me around. So that kind of hindered me a little bit. I was still efficient, but I didn't have the sack totals I should have. But I still fought hard, played hard. Still was able to get some pressures and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that year right there, I think I battled injury for the first real time. I guess I think I missed a couple games because of my knee or something like that. But other than that, it was a decent year. Wasn't my best, and yeah, and then after that, I think I went into yeah. After that, I think that was my last year with the Jags. Yeah.
Yeah, because 2016, the following year, you were moved to strong side linebacker behind Dan Skuda,
Yeah.
and you were released to
Yeah.
go younger. So did you know that after that year, 2015, did you honestly get a sense that your time was over there in Jacksonville?
I got that sense in 2015 before it started because I
I'm
think they
saying,
drafted. They drafted Dante Fowler in
yep.
2015. So for me, me seeing him get drafted, and it's like the writings on the wall. Okay, I see what's going on. Even after the year I had, I'm reading reports about how I'm going to be on the second team, blah blah blah, rushing on, but he ended up tearing his ACL in rookie camp. So, I kind of stuck around in 2015, and then the next year, Dante's healthy, and they draft Yannick Ngakoue,
Who's still playing? Yeah.
a pure pass rusher, son. For me, they moved. That's why they moved me to outside linebacker. And the thing about this is, I didn't like how they did me because I signed a second round tender to come back,
Right.
well before the draft. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking I'm going to compete for a starting job at defensive end. You know what I'm saying? So I really could have, they really could have let me go or let me go sign with somebody else in the offseason. They'll go get a little bit of money, go do all of that kind of stuff. But they held on to me, and changed my position to outside linebacker and tried to let me compete there, which I had never played strong side linebacker. I could see if I was pass rushing every down, that's different, but it wasn't that kind of linebacker. You get what I'm saying? It was more so the traditional, read, run, play out. I haven't done that ever. So, they tried to give me a chance because they like me. But ultimately, I was doomed from the start, to be honest. So I had no business at strong side linebacker.
Looking back at it, now that you're retired, looking back at it, do you think it was justified that now that you now that you're older and more wiser
Mm-hmm.
and looking back on it, do you think it was fair now that what the Jaguars did and going younger, and or you still have somewhat of a grudge what
No, I
happened
don't. No,
and
I
give you
don't have a grudge with. I don't have a grudge with them signing those guys because I was still fairly young myself when they released me. I think I was what 25, 26 when they let me go. But
yeah
I really have a wonder why they didn't keep me. And because if I'm such, I could have been an asset to Yannick Ngakwe and Dante Fowler. Are you kidding me? Like, are you that like? Why didn't y'all see what that looked like? You get what I'm saying? Like that would have looked that to me. That would have looked
you
nice
agree
with me rushing at the three technique and Jan on the
yeah
right, and then having Dante on the edge, and then Malik Jackson or whoever I forgot who was there at the time too. I'm tripping, but you know what I'm saying that could have been a good combo. You know what I'm saying? So and send Derek like that could have been you had your lineup set. I mean,
oh yeah
there's no such
you guys
thing as
would
a
have been
shortage.
dominant
Yeah,
you guys
it's no
would have
such thing as a shortage on pass rushers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a special teams guy already, so I just didn't see. I was just upset about not experimenting with that and not giving that a real shot because I think that would have been lethal to some points. You know what I'm saying? But to each his own. Everything happened for a reason. But I'm not. I wasn't. I was salty when it happened. I wanted to. And I was in tears and just mad because I wanted to be here in Jacksonville, but
yeah.
but I seen Dave Caldwell a couple years later, and it was like nothing happened, man. It's not got no ill will towards him at
Now,
all.
after you were released by the Jaguars, you
Yep,
get signed by Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys.
yep.
Before I get into that tenure, I got to ask you, you obviously had talks with him. What is he like as a character, a man behind the scenes? Because you obviously had to talk to him. What is he like?
Honestly, I haven't. I can't remember me talking to Jerry Jones one on one. Like he's the owner, but I can tell you I've seen him a couple. I've seen him a lot, but I haven't had like talks with him. I might have said hello, shook his hand, um, but for the most part, I talk with Rod Marinelli, the D line coach there,
Mhm.
Jason Garrett, the head coach, Rick Bisaccia was the special teams coach. We kind of we'll talk in meetings and all that kind of stuff. And but for the most part, I haven't talked with Jerry. I mean, and when you see Jerry, it's not just Jerry. It's a team of people that come.
Yeah,
You might see his son Steven
I
and
agree.
some
Yep.
other.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not just him. It's him and about six other people. Next to him. He's gonna have his security with him. They moving around like he should. But for the most part, he's down to earth. He was cool and um, but you can tell he lives and breathes Dallas Cowboy football, man. And that's what I got from that ultimately.
Now, did you know right away? Did you think in your way that you knew you were going to stay or be released? Because you ultimately got signed because, as this says, you only
Mm-hmm.
got signed because of suspensions due to Demarcus Lawrence and Randy
Randy
Gregory.
Gregory, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you think your time was going to be short there?
Nah, well, I don't know. I don't know what I felt at the time. I knew I was gonna when I went for the workout there. I knew I was gonna be on the squad because I felt like my workout went really well. And before that workout, I worked out for the Colts as well.
Hmm.
That went well as well. But I think they were looking for more so of the linebacker type. I was more of a pass rush D line type, and they were surprised at how well I moved in space. But nonetheless, when I got to Dallas, killed the workout, got signed same day. Um, but yeah, I thought I was gonna go in there and tear it up for real because contract year coming up. But that year, is the year my daughter was born. I'm not really. I'm focused, but my mind is elsewhere because I had at the time my girl was pregnant, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of I got released, stayed home, got to move. My mind wasn't in the right space, and then I'm battling injury, hamstrings,
Yep.
knees.
Yep.
So it's like
I
that
see.
year was just where it should have been a year where I cashed in. I kind of, it just didn't work out for me the way I hoped it would have. So, and that's really just that in Dallas. It was a fun experience, but ultimately it wasn't, the trip I intended for it to be. You know what I'm saying? So
I was about to say that, yeah, because that was probably one of your worst seasons because it was injury prone.
yeah,
You,
injury
you only
prone. Yeah,
you only had 3 tackles and 6
exactly,
quarterback pressures and 1
exactly,
fumble recovery.
exactly. So it wasn't as productive as I would have wanted it to be, but I still ended up, I think, going to Buffalo after that.
You did, yep, yep.
After
You signed with them
battling,
in March, yep,
yep.
2017.
And that whole year, I'm battling. Coming up, had patella tendon surgery in January. So that whole year, I'm rehabbing. Like I'm rehabbing in free agency, rehabbing after free agency, rehabbing all year. Battling through this knee, trying to get right, and I ended up having an okay year with three and a half, 3 sacks, I believe, in Buffalo. But that boosted my confidence because I'm like, okay, I went through that year, kind of hobbling the knee, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get right this off season, and be ready to come back the second year and then earn a big contract. But I got released again in 2018. So
How was playing under Sean McDermott? I see that you played
that
under
was
his
fun,
first
man.
year.
That
You
was
played under
fun.
his first year.
I enjoyed it. I really did because the culture they built there. I mean, you can see it now. You see the culture now where they're winning games and they got a quarterback, and it's just and the city is great. But playing under McDermott from day one, it was playoff caliber. That's all he preached, to be playoff caliber. Everything we did was like we're preparing for the playoffs. So that's what we did. We ended up breaking a 17-year long streak of not going to the playoffs that year with him.
Mm.
And that was just a magical season full of ups and downs. Um, we had ups and downs at quarterback, and trying to keep the locker room together. And it's like first year coach making big changes. I think that year we got rid of Sammy Watkins and,
Yep.
the cornerback. I forget the cornerback's name.
I think you had Tyrod Taylor as the
Yep,
quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor's our starter. I think they got rid of Darby, Marcel Darius they ended up cutting ties with him. I think at one point.
Yep.
But hey, but at the end of the day, though, we got it all done as a team. Blue collar guys. I mean, I always felt like we were blue collar. We matched the identity of the city of Buffalo that year, and we got it done. So
Was he a
that was good.
defensive minded coach?
Huh?
Was he a defensive minded coach, Sean McDermott?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. He was definitely defensive minded coach. Yeah, he'd always peek his head in there and or give his 2 cents. Oh, of course. And we had Leslie Frazier as our D coordinator at the time. So yeah,
He's still there. He's still there.
yeah. I mean, you see, he's doing a good job. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I'd stick with what works. I mean,
Yeah.
because he's due for a head coaching job. But shoot, you better keep paying Leslie so y'all can keep that success going.
Right. Exactly.
but
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, he's a defensive minded coach, and that's a defensive minded team to me. If you look at how they're constructed, all they needed was some pieces on offense, and we knew they were going to have success. So, I mean, you see what it's turned into now. So, I always trust the process over there.
What was it like playing for the most? I want to say rowdy. Yeah, it's got to be. Sorry, there's
Yeah.
obviously there's rowdy fan bases, but come on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Bills Mafia, man.
Yeah, what was it like
Probably
in front of Bills Mafia? Come on.
that was probably the best fan experience I've had outside of Jacksonville and Dallas. But I think the Bills fans are top notch. They probably the top fans in the league. I mean, because they travel well. I mean, they treat you well. Wherever you go, they're gonna make sure you're good. Might buy you a drink, might get you some wings, and then they're gonna party. They're gonna have the white tables out, and they're gonna they're gonna
Oh yeah.
smash people through them. They're gonna have a good time. Uh, but I really like the fans in Buffalo. After we made the playoffs and landed back in Buffalo from Miami,
Uh-huh.
to see all the love right there on the airport. The freezing cold. I don't know how cold it was. It was freezing, and they just out there just turned up. I mean, that was beautiful to see. It was real beautiful to see, man. So they're dedicated.
Did you
And
ever join in it? Did you ever join in on the fun?
oh yeah, I definitely did. I didn't get smashed through a table or nothing like that though.
Of course not. But hey, who wants to get smashed through a table? Come on.
Right. I might, if I go to a game one of these days, if they invite me up or have some kind of alumni function like that, I might try to do that at a if I don't get smashed through a table, if they let me smash somebody through a table, that'll be fun.
There you go. There you go. So
Yeah.
I also see at the end of your playing career, you got to play in the CFL. Now tell us how much of a difference is that experience compared to playing in the NFL? Is
So
it
with
any
that, I didn't actually play in there. I signed a contract to go to Toronto to play in the CFL, but ultimately I decided to opt out because of COVID. So
okay. I
yeah,
got
I didn't even want to waste their time with going up there and adjusting and all that kind of stuff. But they just won the Grey Cup, so hats off to them. They're having
you
a
think it would have been different though playing compared to the NFL?
oh yeah, it would have for sure. It's a lot more running in the CFL. It's not real, it's a lot more running. The field is bigger, wider. I think you get less downs. I think it's like 3 downs. I think something like that. Yeah, but yeah, it would have been a little different, but not a real big change. But it would have been some nuances in there that would have, I would have picked up on for sure.
Now, obviously, you're retired now,
Yep.
but honestly, in
Yeah.
your heart of hearts,
Hmm.
if a team offered you a contract today, would you go out and try out to make the team?
Oh, I'd try out for sure. Yeah. I wouldn't. Now how well that tryout goes is on me. Like if they want to get me 20 pounds overweight, like got the dad bod going on, sure, fine, yeah. But I can give a team a pass rush on third down. That's about it. I'm not playing every down. I can't do it. Nope. I
That's
go
what
get out.
most of the teams look for anyhow, is to stop
Yeah,
on third
situational. I got you. I can play myself into shape, and I'll get into shape, proper shape, with practice and all that kind of stuff. But I still got a little bit of the moves. I think I'm more smarter, and I don't waste as much steps anymore. I'm more tight with my hands. I'm good with my feet, and that's because I have to be good with my players out there that I'm coaching here at Rains High School. So I kind of got to be on point to kind of show them what I expect from them. So
down.
that's the only reason. But to play a full course game, man, I'd probably go out there and get injured first few plays.
Right. I feel you there. That's probably what happened. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's better you stay retired. But hey,
yeah,
why not try out though, right?
right.
Just
If they call me, if they're serious,
just for
I
shits and giggles.
I'll tell them like, look, all right, I'll do it, but y'all gonna have to cut me some slack.
So let's get into a little current topics. I'm sure obviously you still follow and you still coach it.
Mhm.
So I gotta ask you, a guy who I can't say. Well, yeah, he is. I guess you consider him a defensive end. Let's talk about Aaron Donald. What do you think of him? Do you think his career will define him as what it was before he won the Super Bowl, or do you think he's a certified, indeed now a Hall of Famer?
Oh, he's certified. He's been certified before the Super Bowl. To me, I mean, if you look at his numbers every year, it's like accolades every year. He's been solidified for some years. It's not even close to me.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just what defensive player of the year and Pro Bowls, first team All Pros, and come on, you got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. And now to add the Super Bowl to his resume, like
Mhm.
yeah, it's solidified. He's one of the greatest of all time, and he's in the discussion of best defensive player of all time. He's up. I believe so. As a 6 foot, 285 pound defensive tackle to beat guys routinely, and they know what's coming, and
And
you
always
can't
get
stop
double
it.
teamed. Yep, always get.
Yeah, so like that's domination to me. To be in that conversation for the GOAT or whatnot, domination. You have to check the box. You gotta. your opponent's got to know what you about to do and still can't stop it. That's what domination is. And to me, that's what Aaron Donald is. He's in that convo with LT, I believe, Reggie White. And when it's all said and done, I mean, the numbers are going to line up. I mean, he's already at 100 sacks in what, 8 9 what was it, 8 9 seasons
Yeah.
at 100 sacks as an interior lineman. Like, make it make sense. That doesn't happen. And for me, Warren Sapp was the best D tackle all time, with John Randall, but I think Aaron Donald passed them. And he's in that convo for the best defensive player all time. Yeah, for
Now
sure.
let's talk about another guy that honestly played like the position you did.
Hmm.
Well, no, can play position like you did, but is mainly a linebacker. He plays for the so-called America's team that you played for,
Michael
Micah
Parsons.
Parsons. Yep.
Hmm.
How far do you think his career can go? And do you think, honestly, he'll live up to what everybody's hyping up to be?
Right.
I honestly feel bad for him
Hmm.
because everybody's hyping him up right now to be
Right.
LT.
Right.
But that's a long way to go. People need
Always,
to
yeah.
realize that
That is
he's only 2 years into his career.
right. And
I
that
feel bad for him, and he's
yeah,
handling it well. But what do you think? Do you think he can honestly live up to that hype?
I'm gonna say this the sky. I ain't gonna say the sky's the limit. I think he can, on account that I don't think he cares about what the other people are setting like on him. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like the outside noise affects him. Like, he understands what they're saying. But when a guy doesn't pay attention to that and still goes out and plays 100 miles an hour, he's better than last year. You know what I'm saying? I think he's not. I don't think he's even scratched the surface of how good he can be.
Right.
He's still
Exactly.
He's still learning how to rush. When I look at him, he's still learning how to rush.
Right.
That's wild to me because his motor's on 100. I mean, he's fast. I mean, legit 4.3 speed. And he came out the year they didn't have the combine, so
Yep.
everybody was running
Yep.
4.3s.
Yep.
I was like, these 4.3s are suspect. Everybody got a 4.3 at their pro day. Nope, his is for real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at it on tape, he just sticks out, and he lines up anywhere and everywhere, and he makes a difference. So I can see why people are trying to put that on him. It's a little soon, but shoot, I mean, it seems like it ain't really affected him too much. I mean, he's embracing it and running with it, and he's in the right organization to kind of push that narrative to be in that conversation. The
And what's
Cowboys,
funny is
yeah,
and what's funny is you wouldn't have known the guy if you don't because he was not on national TV a lot. He was at
right,
a school in Penn State that
right,
wasn't a national house. You literally have to go out and find his games.
yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know who he was. I never saw a Penn
Me
State game.
either.
I didn't
I
know
hadn't,
who
I
he
hadn't
was.
watched him.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I give a lot of credit to these scouts, man. They do their job and they do it to a T, and they don't. I mean, a lot of them miss, but a lot of them don't.
Mhm.
And they did not miss with this guy. He's the real deal, and he's even better. So I'd like to. I know the scout that discovered him, and he probably got a promotion somewhere right now.
You think if he stays with Dan Quinn, he can, or do you think if changing defensive coaches will affect him? Because Dan Quinn's a good minded. He's got that defense rolling again, like he did when he had Seattle's defense. So
Well,
he's got that
yeah,
defense.
that's good, but in the same breath, I think Micah is his own entity, man. I think whatever defense he goes to, he's gonna make a difference because he can play at depth and be effective, and he can play on the edge and be effective, and he's proven that. So wherever you line him up, he's gonna make his presence felt, and you're gonna know number 11 is coming. So that's the dangerous part about him. You can line him up anywhere. He'll make plays covering guys. You get what I'm saying? So he's one of those guys that's just a ball player, man, and you love to have on your team. So they better. All I know is after next year, they gotta back that Brinks truck up to him.
Now I gotta ask you about since we just talked a little bit about Bills Mafia and the Bills since you played with them, I gotta ask you, what's going on with the Bills? I know the sky is high for them, and they've had those clunkers. Josh Allen hasn't been the same since the early MVP.
Right.
What's going on over there with them? Can they fix what's been going on over there? They've I think lost their last 2 out of 3 games
Yeah,
or something.
and that's the thing. It's tough. I mean, they're battling injuries, which you're gonna have to do. Everybody does, but I mean that division is tough.
It is.
If you look at it, I think everybody has a winning record, right?
Yep.
And who's at the top of that? The Dolphins. The Dolphins at the top, and
Yep.
the Jets are playing lights out on defense.
Yep.
I mean, they are just playing lights out. So yeah, they got their work cut out for them. They started off hot. Of course, that's what a lot of teams do. Offenses come out hot because I mean, a lot of defenses ain't drawing up to stop you yet, but the good guys are gonna come out. But now it's like, okay, everybody sees the game plan. Now everybody's, you are who you are. So now teams are, really honing in on you and trying to take you out the game. So, but the Bills are a good enough team to respond. They're well coached. They've been well coached for a long time. So, I think personally they are still the team to beat out there, along with the Chiefs. Them and the Chiefs in the AFC, it's gonna come down to those two teams.
Now, what I gotta ask you, your team you didn't play with, but you were on a practice squad. They released you. Your last team in 2018, the Rams.
Right.
Now, I saw an amazing stat. I mean, this is amazing to me. They're the only Super Bowl defending team to have this worse of a record in NFL history.
Yeah.
What I know it's injuries and every team goes through that. But what in the heck is going on over there? I mean, you had McVay, this young guy who's dynamic, helped the team win a Super Bowl. What is going on over there? Because every team, you can't say injuries. You can't use that as an excuse. Every team goes through that. And I know they're battered. Every team is at this time. What in the world is wrong with the Rams?
Well, on top of the injuries, I think their O line is weak. I don't know what it is. I feel like teams have adapted to what McVay is doing, and they don't have enough weapons on the outside per se. I think they should have kept Robert Woods. To me, I feel like that wasn't the right move to kind of do. He's in the offense, knows the offense. But he tore his knee up, and now A-Rob is hurt now. You know what I'm saying? And A-Rob is more of a up top type of guy.
He wasn't doing good though this
year. Just throw it. Yeah, I feel like he wasn't even featured enough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he should have been featured enough, and I think that's where OBJ would have fit perfectly. Like he did. Coming in when he came in last year. So if he was healthy, I think OBJ would have been the perfect answer for this offense to kind of spread it out and open and get it going. And I feel like their run game hasn't been what it was either. It's been some uncertainty with Akers. Yeah, it's been uncertainty with Akers, and they released Henderson. So it's like what's going on over there. So it's just a lot of holes on offense, and then the defense can't be on the field all day, and they're gonna just not make plays. You know what I'm saying? So it all boils down to that injuries and scheme. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So I think they should take this year as learning experience, get healthy, and go and get some more playmakers on offense. I think that's what they need.
And I feel bad for this, but what in the blue hell is going on with the Denver Broncos? That defense can win games. Clearly, they're holding teams under 20 points a game.
Yep.
But freaking Russell Wilson can't even give them 10 a game. They're the worst scoring offensive team. Their red zone is dead last. Their turnover margin is horrible on the offense. It's ridiculous. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the offensive weapons.
They just don't. The trigger man ain't right. I don't know. if it's the scheme, you know what? The Seahawks knew something. You know what I'm saying? That's why they want to part ways with Russ. And a lot of Russ's plays, he makes plays when the plays break down, and that's where he became special. Um, obviously he has some throws. He has some years where he's good, but this year he's just I don't know. I don't know if his focus ain't right. His mind is elsewhere. It's just not clicking this year for Russ. So, and and guys are having short patience with him at this point because now you're making $250 million. And that's pressure. Whether you believe it or not, you get that much money, people are expecting a lot from you. You're supposed to
Right.
be the set franchise savior. So I don't know if that's getting to him. And now that you're losing, now your confidence is shot. You know what I'm saying? Russ ain't gonna come out and say that, but I kind of sense it. You can kind of see it that his confidence is shot. He doesn't have the locker room. He doesn't have the respect of his teammates.
Do you
And
also think it's what his former teammates have come out and said is true about him, that he's gone way too Hollywood now?
I
Do you think
mean,
that could be playing it?
I think you can believe it. I mean, because it's reflective in his play right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like to tell Russ, you got to keep the main. I'm nobody, all right. But you got to keep the main thing the main thing. If we know you for football, football's got to be the main thing. Football's that's what affords you other opportunities.
Yeah,
So if you're Hollywood, don't forget that you're a quarterback. You're a football player first. All the
yeah,
other stuff comes secondary. Just like Kevin Hart. He makes all these movies and stuff, right? But he's still a comedian at the end of the day. He still needs to get up on that stage and tell us, how he felt, give us a special. Like stand in front of the room at a local bar and just get some jokes off. That's who you are. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So for me, I like to tell him that. Like that's what you are, man. You're a QB. I don't know what happened. And a lot of us don't care what happened. We just want results. And in the NFL, it's a results business.
yeah,
So they pay you a lot of money to do that. You're gonna have grace just because of the money they paid you. You're gonna have another year or two because they don't want to throw out their investment that quick. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing to do is to just get in that lab and go to work, and hopefully next season have different results. But we'll see.
Now, two more teams I'll ask you about, and then I have two more questions, and we'll end it off there. The first team is the Packers. What do you think the Packers need to do with Aaron Rodgers? Do you think they need to switch to Jordan Love? Because that defense can still win. I know there's injuries, but they still have a good defense. Do you think they just need to switch to see what Jordan Love has?
Uh, to be honest, Aaron Rodgers is their best bet. I just I don't see it yet with Jordan Love. Maybe because I ain't seen him enough. But I think they have a target emerging in Christian Watson. He's
Mhm.
starting to come on strong now. Um,
Yep.
I think their run defense can be better. But other than that, it's been a weird. It's just been a weird year. Like the guys is getting paid, the big money in the offseason are not
Duds.
like themselves right now. I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
That's wild. So I don't know what it is, man. If it's mental or losing Devontae, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. It's just not looking the same. And only they know internally what was going on. So I think Aaron Rodgers is I don't know. I don't know where his head is. I don't know.
And ultimately, last team, the 49ers. Do you think this is the final year for Jimmy G? And how far do you think it'll take him?
Hmm. I don't think this is the final year for Jimmy G, man. I think they're gonna re-up him because Trey Lance, with that brutal ankle break. I think they're gonna bring him back. What's the 49ers record? Are they doing okay? Are they
Yeah,
okay?
they're hot right now. They've won like 3 or 4 in a row, and they're like 7-5 or something like that. 7-4,
Four, seven, okay.
8-4 or something like that.
I think Jimmy G stays, man, because you don't. No matter how hard they try to get rid of him, he sticks around, man. He sticks around, and you know what he's going. He's done a solid job. People forget, man. He got him to a Super Bowl, man. That's
Twice.
all. Yeah. So that's all he needs to do. Like just go in there and do his thing like that. So a lot of people, he's not going to wow you on the stat sheet every week, but he doesn't need to. All right, let's get that out of our heads that he's going to be the guy to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns every week. That's not going to happen. As long as he can go in there, make his plays, we're going to need him to win a couple games, of course, every year, but
Yeah.
manage the game and let the defense kind of eat and feast. Just get the ball into your playmakers' hands. You'll be fine, man. Get it to Debo, CMC, and Brandon and Kittle, and you got a stellar left tackle. I mean, yeah, you just get it. Just manage the game. Make your plays when you need to. Don't make silly turnovers. And that's the recipe. Let the defense go to work. So I think Jimmy G's in. He's in the. I think he's in the ideal situation. Because either now like you got to do something with him or pay him to come back.
And like father, like son, Shanahan's going to be just like his daddy, if not better. He's
Yep.
still young.
Yep.
So, I mean, Shanahan's there to stay. I don't see him ever changing teams.
No, yeah.
I really don't.
I don't see him.
No.
Not, yeah.
No. So the first question is out of the two, and then we'll hang it up for tonight. The
Okay.
first one is give me your top 10 greatest of all time defensive ends where you played.
Ooh.
And why? Why do you think they're your top 10?
Top 10 defensive ends?
Yes. Your position, which was defensive end. I know it changes it changes because they play everywhere now, but
Ooh, man, I should have wrote this down beforehand. Top 10. Let's go Simeon Rice. He played in Tampa. He was just a great speed edge rusher. I like Simeon Rice.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Who's that number? All right, let's go 10. Simeon Rice. Number 9. Who's another great? I go with Jared Allen.
There you go.
I love watching
Minnesota.
Jared.
Yep.
Minnesota. I love watching him and how I love the sack celebration too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. That was 10, 9, 8. I know I'm gonna forget somebody at the end of this list, but it's okay. We'll insert them somewhere else. 8, 10, 8. Let's see. Pass rushers, edge guys. We'll go Michael Strahan.
Okay.
We'll go Michael Strahan. He probably should be up a little higher, but that's what's coming to mind right now. And I don't want to list them ahead of some of the other.
I don't mind him being 7. I think he could be 7.
Well, that was 8. I thought it was 8. That was 8.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. That was 8. Yeah, never mind.
Michael
You're
Strahan,
right.
of course. Another guy that I enjoy, watching. Let me see, 10, 8. This is number 7 now. 7 would be. Let's go with Ryan, be quiet. Let's go with Robert Mathis from the Colts.
Okay. That's a wild card. I would have never thought of him.
Yeah, Robert Mathis, smaller guy, speed guy. I love watching him. I loved watching him, man. And he probably should be a little higher on my list. Let's see, number 6. So number 6. Let's go. I'm trying to think of all the pass rushers all time. Let's go. Let's switch Robert Mathis with O.C. Umenyiora.
Okay.
Let's switch those guys out.
I forgot about him.
I had Mathis at 6 and then O.C. at 7, but O.C. was a dog, man.
Yeah, he was.
I loved watching his game.
Him and Strahan together. Whew.
Yeah, and I probably put OC. I'm just name 10 guys. I'm not even gonna worry about the order.
No, you're good.
Good. Who else? My favorite pass rushers, my top guys. You got to throw Bruce Smith in there.
Right. Yep.
All-time sack leader, like
Buffalo Bill. Yep.
Buffalo Bill. All right. So number 5. Edge rushers. Let's go with. Oh man, number 5. Oh, it's tough because I got some guys for you. So number 5 all time. That would probably be who I like. Oh, Derek Thomas. Rest in peace.
Chiefs.
Yep, for the Chiefs. Derek Thomas.
I didn't think he died. When did he die?
He died a while ago. Like in the 90s, I want to say. Yeah, he died a while ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was still alive I don't know why I thought he was still alive. Okay. That's a good one now. I
He
remember him.
He was so that's number 5. He probably should be a little higher. So number 4, I got. So number 4, I'll go for my list. I'll go Dwight Freeney.
Can't forget about him, yeah.
Can't forget about Dwight Freeney. That spin move.
About him.
That devastating spin move. You knew the spin was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Do nothing.
Yep. He mastered that move.
He mastered it. Number 3. Man, this is tough because I don't even know. I know my first 2. But I'm trying to think of number 3, if that makes sense. If anything, I'd move. I'm trying to get some names off. I'm trying to remember some names off the top. It don't matter. I'm gonna just name the last 2 because I know I'm gonna forget somebody and be like, oh yeah. but I'm gonna do I'm gonna just do the last 2 because I don't know. But I'm gonna go. But he's not on the edge. He's not a defensive end. That's what I'm. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get the edge rushers.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I could have named him. I could have named Aaron Donald, but they're not on the edge as much as
That's
these.
True. That's
you
true.
Know what I'm saying? I think John Randall would have been the name too, but I don't think he played on the edges. I don't think he did either. Well, yeah. Who else? Who's I'm gonna name? I'm just go to the other 2. My top 2 would it be? And it really goes back and forth for me. But right now,
what about J.J. Watt in his prime?
Prime J.J. was a menace. You hear me? He was nothing to be messed with. You know what? I put J.J. Watt in my defensive. I would put him in there. So I probably move J.J. to my. I probably move J.J. to my top 5 then, and then move Freeney to number 3 then. Okay.
Yeah, because he was good in his prime.
Oh, for sure. I seen that up close because he was in our division. So I moved JJ to 5.
Yeah, you did. You saw him up close and personal.
Yeah. JJ was cold. And so I moved. So my last 2 would be Von Miller would be at number 2.
Yep. Okay.
I love Von Miller. His game, he's just so bendy and strong and fast. I mean, that's the mode. That's what edge rushers should strive.
Everywhere he's gone, look at everywhere he's gone so far out of 2 teams, he's turned around those defenses. Seriously. Yeah. The Rams last year, and now look what he's done to the Bills.
Yeah. He just produces, man. And my number 1 guy would be Reggie White.
Yep. I would have said yep. I would have to agree with you on that one. Yes.
Reggie White. I would list LT.
But he was a linebacker mainly, though. He wasn't outside.
He was, and he more so he's just gonna destroy you. He's just gonna get after it. I remember watching a little more of Reggie White than LT, I believe. Especially when he was with the Packers those days. So, but going back and looking at tapes of Reggie White, seeing how dominant he was from.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing, man, and I think I just think to me he has the highest honor to me of being the greatest defensive player, along with Aaron Donald and LT and all those guys. I think Reggie White is number 1 for me.
I couldn't agree more with your list. I like your list. Is that hell? If you had an all-star roster of defensive guys, that would be it. Even though they're in only that position, still that's an all-star lineup right there.
Mm-hmm.
How many defensive how many defensive player of the years, all-star games, whatever, Super Bowl champs right there in that list.
Exactly.
Can't go wrong with that list.
Go wrong.
So now the last question before we end it off for tonight, I got to ask you because I ask everybody else this. I know you're coaching, so this works well for you. This question works well for you. For any kid that wants to get into the sport that you're teaching, football, what do you tell them to get to where you got to, and what do you tell them? How do you prepare them for it? Shall I say? It's a two-part question.
Well, you get to the pro level by you know listening, being coachable. That's number one because a lot of guys are going to be fast. They're going to run fast, jump high. They're going to be stronger than you, but you got to be coachable to know what you got to do, when you got to do it, and you got to do it at a high level. So you have to be a technician. You got to master your craft. So start in high school, start in middle school, start developing a routine, start lifting weights. Be on schedule or something. Be committed. Don't stay out of trouble. I think you limit yourself when you get in trouble, and you get a label on you early. You don't want that. So kind of stay out of trouble if you can, and hit the books. Don't get behind on your books. Just give yourself that chance to give yourself some room to kind of blossom. You don't want to cap yourself in ninth grade and now you're behind the eight ball. Now you got to work extra hard and try to catch up to everybody else. So kind of be on top of your books, and then when it's time to practice hard and listen to your coaches and do what you got to do there. And I think that will afford you the opportunity to go to college, and then get to college. Then you really got to be a technician because everybody's good in college. You gotta work on your craft and do the extra hours. So you gotta dedicate yourself and do all of that kind of stuff. So and then you just gotta make plays in the game when your name is called. Just be that guy. Don't sit around and wait for guys to make the plays. You go make them. It's been it's a lot of good athletes at home that are at home because they think it's politics when in reality they haven't made enough plays. So
Right.
when your name is called and it's time to perform, when those lights come on, the moment can't be too big for you. You got to show out, man. Just make and do your thing. So, um, that's kind of how you want to get to your spot. Just stay dedicated, man. Like I said, develop a routine. Um, listen, always listen. You never know as much as you think you know. All right, and you could always use more information. And when information comes, you kind of know. You look like a genius if you know what plays are gonna come. You play faster, so you're gonna look like you know what you're doing out there. So just study, be prepared, and just be ready for whatever that comes your way, and you'll know how to respond.
I couldn't have said any better. Well, I thank you, Mr. Davis, for your time. It was fun. I hope you had a blast.
Definitely did, man. Appreciate you for
It
having me.
was fun. It was no problem. Anytime. It was fun talking ball with you.
Hmm.
Um, I will send you once I'm done with the episode. I'll send it to you. Feel free to share it.
Okay.
Um, if you know anybody, still talk to any former players, send them my way. I'm
Okay.
always looking for more interviews. So if you know anybody else, send them my way. I will gladly accept it. and,
I definitely will.
other than that, I'll let you get back to your kids. Have fun with them.
All right.
They're a joy. You know that, as we talked about.
Yep. All right, my man. I appreciate you, my man.
No problem. Enjoy. You have a
All
good
right.
night. All
All right. You
right,
too.
buddy.
All right.
Take care. All right.
All
Bye. All right, everybody. This concludes episode number 106. Again, I'd like to thank Podcast One for giving me this opportunity to share the podcasting experience, and to betonline.net. So if you want to bet on NHL going on right now, World Cup's going on, That's your number one site to go bet. If you want to waste your money, go ahead. I mean, I wouldn't do it because I know I wouldn't win. But hey, if you're good at gambling, then go ahead and do it. You might win a lot. You never know. But it's a good gambling website. I've seen the ratings on it. So go out there and bet on your games that you choose to bet on. And there's a lot going on right now that you can bet between NHL, NBA, World Cup, NFL going strong. I mean, you name it out there, UFC. Go out there and bet, and you might win something. But thank you, Bet Online, also for and use the promo code podcast1 to get started there if you want. So I appreciate it. Thank you to you guys at Bet Online and Podcast One. I appreciate this partnership. Thank you. And you guys have a good night and take care.